We're reaching the end of 2025, and it is a tough market out there for books. Now, I'm selling pretty well on Amazon right now. I have, on a non-release month, usually about $1,000 a month in sales, which are driven mostly from this YouTube channel of people checking out my books. But if you don't have a YouTube channel, you don't have a back catalog, or if you're just out there struggling with no following, it can seem very, very dismal. And that's actually pretty normal for most of the author environment. There's a couple of things that are at play here, which is expectations of people who really have this dream that they're going to have their one idea, have that novel out there. It's so special that it's going to change the world, and they're going to get millions of dollars for it. I hear this all the time from pretty much every independent author. They think they have the best idea ever made. Well, we're in an environment where there's 1.9 million books being dropped per year. That's right, 1.9 million. And it's only going to increase from this point because of what AI is doing. Now, if there's 1.9 million books coming out per year, the odds are that your book is not going to make you a millionaire. It's not going to change the world. Might not even be that good compared to a lot of what else is out there. And a lot of people won't tell you that because a lot of the author sort of scaffolding business is all about telling you as an aspiring author that you can make it, you can do it, just do it. I try to tell it like it is. It upsets some people, but it is the truth, and that's why a lot of people, of course, gravitate over here. So let's get into this. There's a couple of videos that came out from some YouTubers, and I want to kind of go over those and why they actually spurred me to talk about this right now. And I mostly give this as a context of science fiction and fantasy, which is where I operate. So I hope you guys check us out and pay attention here. This is the real fantasy news. I do agree that there is kind of a difficult state in the industry right now, but it's not changed. It's always been difficult to break through. And of course, there are ways to do so. And of course, timing, product, reach is a lot of what goes into everything, as it always has. So hit the like, subscribe button. Join us here as we talk about these things. As I mentioned, have I already said that? I might have. I'm not the best YouTuber. I am the best writer, though. And this is what I do. This is my new Valiant Frontiers, and it is a 3-book trilogy. I hate saying that. 3-book trilogy is obvious, but I do that. I've got it in my head, and it just rattles off my tongue. The 3-book trilogy. And this is a new science fiction exploration series, which really brings back the classic science fiction, what it used to be. Each one of these books has its own science fiction concept. This one has a crystal that holds souls and actually keeps them alive forever. It's a first contact situation. And then the second one is about a civilization that actually embroiled itself in war, destroyed it. And the third one is actually a time travel adventure where history starts to unravel. And this is actually my most complicated book I've ever written because I did a lot of different parallel storylines in different timelines. So this is at its heart about a spaceship crew, which is exploring the galaxy, and of course trying to find and make sure there's not going to be threats that hurt humanity and the Aritians who teamed up with them. Now, they have conflicting interests. It makes for an interesting storyline all the way around with some great characters. Now, it is very difficult to get discovered these days. There's a few things going on. Of course, there's a lot of books out there. The economy's bad. All these things, of course, are a thing. And this is also on a site called Fund My Comic. Now, Fund My Comic is not an ideal place to sell books, but I am banned from Kickstarter and Indiegogo because they don't like my politics. Surprise, surprise. And so I make do with what I make do. So this is where our new book trilogy is at. It's completely written. I spent the last couple of years really refining these and actually really working deeply on the characters. If you like any of my science fiction novels, these are by far going to be the best. I can tell you that right now. So check it out. It's in the description below. Thank you for supporting our channel. Now, like I said, independent booksellers are venting frustrations about this. The publishing industry faces unprecedented crisis with 1.9 million new books flooding annually. That industry has reached catastrophic saturation levels and makes discovery nearly impossible for most authors. The perfect storm is an oversupply and algorithmic gatekeeping has been here for a long time, but it's at a tipping point for most authors. Now, I saw this. Is book publishing dying in an author's perspective? And this is from a much bigger YouTuber than me. This is Vlog Brothers, 4 million subscribers, talking about book publishing and the like. And he says it's a pretty dismal deal. 1 day old, it's got 100,000 views. He'll probably sell a lot of books off this video, to be honest. Good for him. But yes, he talked about the stats about this and how it all is what it is at this point. And it's very, very tough. At the same time, David V. Stewart, who I would be saying is a friend of the channel and is a good writer, But unfortunately, this video he made was a lot of little passive-aggressive remarks about me and about what I'm doing. And, of course, he doesn't like certain things going on with the book industry right now. And it turns out he did a little soft block thing on X, so I guess he's not a friend of the channel now. Oh well, I like the guy, no ill will against him, but I am going to go over his analysis, tell you where he's right, and also tell you where he's wrong. And he's quitting independent publishing. He's not bothering anymore because it looks like he really can't make money off of it, is what it comes down to. It is very, very difficult to make money off of independent publishing. And there's going to be a few reasons for that, and a few reasons you can mitigate that, and a few reasons as an author that you really shouldn't even try a lot of the time. This is all true when we get into it. So yes, the state of the book industry is very, very tough. The amount of books out there is a lot. And David Stewart talks about AI saturating the market. I don't think that AI has really saturated the market. When I look at different genres, and I look at the tops of the genres, this is my Stars Entwined novel, for example. I go to, let's go to Space Fleet science fiction, which is my wheelhouse. David Collins, The Girl Who Dropped In, Wanders, Book 1. I don't feel like this is an AI-generated book from the sample I've read, but you can't tell. AI is at the point that if somebody's editing it, you can never tell whether it is or not. But this guy does have a lot up here. We've got another USS Battle Strike, Spaceship in a Bottle. Jonathan Brazee is a longtime old-school author, so I know he's not using AI. Martha Wells is a longtime old-school author. So it's really not AI that's at the top of the charts here, right? It is just algorithm writing books, which are done by either big name genre people who have been around for a long time, or there's like a sort of Kindle thing that's gotten everybody kind of getting a series. You can see this David Collins guy is all over the top of the charts right now, and there's probably a marketing reason for that got all these up there, right? And so that's what happens, and this has been the case for a long, long time. Like I said, it's not an AI thing. It's not mostly people in fiction using AI. There is an AI problem on Amazon, but it actually doesn't really have to do with fiction so much. It's not that market's being flooded with AI fiction. Market's being flooded with AI nonfiction. If you are in a nonfiction genre and you're actually like trying to do something like a how-to-write book, somebody just put up 50 AI books on how to write that copied all the top best how to write AI books and then regurgitated them out through ChatGPT. People are doing that. That's really, really difficult in the nonfiction spot. But in fiction, not so much at this point. It might be in the future, but the way to write AI nonfiction is actually a lot of work. I've extensively tested it myself, and it's very, very difficult to actually do and actually get a coherent story out of. And so the amount of work is not where the people who are going to grift off of just putting something up real quick to make some cash are going to go. It's going to be the nonfiction categories, which is actually where most people read anyway, and that makes a lot more sense. You don't make military science fiction unless you just love to make military science fiction. Let's be honest, right? Or you don't make sword and sorcery fantasy unless the same thing. And this is the thing: a lot of these are here because of advertising. And Kindle Unlimited actually is a pay-to-play system at this point. So when you actually go into different books and you're browsing Amazon, I'll actually browse David V. Stewart and his books right here, and I'll see that I've got here's David, and this is actually a bad example because for some reason the advertisements books didn't pop up here. But usually, let's go with Richard Fox. He's a big Kindle guy. So Richard Fox, we've got these more results, and look at this. Immediately you've got the Code Hunters and Nicholas Fox Adventures popped up here, and that is a pretty prominent spot right there. So if I'm searching Richard Fox, it used to populate things pretty well with different things that were like the also bought or also read sort of things, which it still does. But a lot of these products related now, if you look at this, the products related, the first tab here, are sponsored. So immediately, unless you're scrolling down the page, if you're looking for a new book, if something catches your eye, this one does. This is a great cover right here from Amy A.K. Dubois, who's another military science fiction person. These are all sponsored. These are all paid for slots by people who are paying, and they usually pay around 50, 60 cents per click. Now, with a $4.99 or $3.99 price tag, you're going to have like a 1 in 6 or 1 in 8 to break even on that book. If 8 clicks equals a sale, right? Or 6 clicks equals a sale. A lot of people can't afford to do that, right? This is the way you get seen on Amazon now, and it's increasingly more so. They're paying for more spaces. They actually, here's also bought or also read. Now this is below this. So you actually, the thing is, your immediate scrolls right here, and then if you want to see the also bots and also read, they're down here. So if you wanted to find somebody like Richard Fox based on your deals, this used to be the top thing before all the sponsored stuff took over, and the sponsored stuff's all over the site. So that's how you kind of find stuff at this point. And that's a lot of what Amazon is. It's a pay-to-play system now that you have to be already established. You already have to have things going. You're not going to sell unless you've got all these right here. Ember Oath is a just released. It's only got 1 review. So that, people are going to look at it and go, oh, it's got 1 review. This one's got 1,400 reviews. That's cool. So people who already have a lot of reviews are going to, of course, just fare better. By the way, if you leave reviews on my Amazon books, I really appreciate it because it does help my Amazon ads a lot. People look for hundreds or thousands of reviews on things, and the more they see, it's social proof that other people have read this book. And so those are types of things that are going against you as a new author, as a person who's putting out a new book, if you don't have a tremendous following or like that. Like I said, none of this stuff's AI, but that's what David V. Stewart really focused on. If you go into this, he's very frustrated, it seems, that his book was not selling. And he talks about how a lot of independent fiction is just slop. They just put trope after trope after trope. And with that, he says that AI is the problem, and authors are adapting AI. And the reason I knew it was about me was he said, I don't want to associate with anybody who's doing AI or blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, I got that soft block from him on X at the same time. So very, very sad. Like I said, I like this guy. And he's a good person, little misguided about this, and his frustrations about his book not selling are misdirected at me here. It is the Amazon ecosystem that's very tough, which he does talk about a little bit, but again, he really hyper-focuses on the AI situation, which we just went through the top Amazon. Doesn't really look like a lot of AI-written books there, so I don't think that's really the case of what's going on. The market is flooded, but it's already been flooded, and that's the thing. This market's been flooded for years. A lot of people overbought books in 2020 in COVID because they were at home, they were bored, all they could do was read, and so there was a little boost in 2020 that actually stopped that decline in book sales for most people as the book sales and as the books kept coming out. But once people went back to work again, all of that kind of collapsed in 2022, 2023. So the last couple of years, it's been very, very hard to get a book seen. And that's the problem here, getting a book seen, marketing, and that's what authors tend to not want to do. If you look at David V. Stewart, he just keeps, talking about how great his book is, which is great. But again, you talking about how great your own book is not particularly great marketing. And that's just not what typically sells things and gets people motivated to sell things, because of course you think your book's great. I mean, it'd be weird if you thought your book wasn't great. But when other people talk about it, the social proof, that's the thing. But to get that social proof, you need to, again, already be established on Amazon. You need to already have all that going. You need to have the ad ecosystem going. It's a big catch-22. I understand the frustration, but we need to, of course, direct it in the right spot. So what's the conclusion right now? This is a big problem right now, and organic visibility for indie and self-published authors has definitely declined. Amazon's algorithm now favors books that use paid ads or generate rapid, sustained sales. Authors must constantly bid on advertising keywords to maintain visibility, creating an auction system that favors those with deep pockets over literary merit. But again, it's mostly always been that way. It has not really substantively changed over the last year, other than there's so many books out now compared to last year, which is always the same. It compounds every single year, making it more and more difficult to get seen. So it's always the same situation. You pretty much have to grow your own platform, grow your own following, and of course get people invested in you rather than getting people just invested in like, oh, this book cover looks cool. Because let's be honest, when you're searching on something like this, you actually don't know whether a book's good or not. You can read a little bit of the sample or whatever and go, okay, that writing looks pretty good for the first like 5 pages. You really have no clue. There's no possible way to know. What you judge it on is the cover and the blurb. And you go, the cover looks cool. This looks like spaceships. It looks like there's explosions cool. The Zeros crush every civilization they meet until humanity sparks the fight against extinction. Okay, well, that sounds pretty epic. I might check this out. And that's all you base things on. So you do, as a reader, and people always don't judge a book by its cover. Everybody judges a book by its cover, and that's it. And the covers are just marketing. And this is where a lot of authors also go wrong with this sort of thing, where they think about this. When they go into space marine science fiction books, they want to like have their thing that like makes them feel like they're standing out, an artistic expression. This is an advertising blurb. The cover is an advertising blurb. You're looking at this as the advertising to buy it. It's not a personal thing. It's not really like a art piece or anything like that. Look at all the Space Marine books. Most of them don't even have Space Marines in the cover in the top 10. They have starships with fire, okay? Starships with fire is what a Space Marine person is looking for, with a like kind of grayish like kind of font that looks kind of vaguely sci-fi-y, right? And that's what you get for the most part. There's a little bit of variation here, but overall, most of it is starships with fire. So you want to have your stuff kind of look like this, but also be the one that stands out in the crowd of this. So you want to signal the genre, and you want to do that. That's the way to sell. And a lot of people are, like I said, just too into, I want my cover to be an artistic expression of myself, etc. I want to pay a top artist or whatever. Like, that sort of thing doesn't matter. It's all vanity. And if you want people to check out your books, they read your books, they understand the literary merit, that is the way you have to do things at this point. So yes, it is harder than ever before. There are more books than ever before. It's not AI that's keeping you down. It is just your own sort of inability to market. And that's all that this has ever been. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. Look, there's a thing, and David says he wants to be more artistic. He doesn't want to repeat himself, and he feels like everybody's repeating genre tropes, etc. Okay, if you want to be an artist, you got to understand that that's not like a commercial thing. A commercial thing is a product that goes there. Now, there's a line, obviously, and you want to like fulfill yourself a little bit. You also want to give people what they want so they buy it. If you're actually trying to do this to make money, that's the thing, right? And you have to ride that line and figure out where that line is for yourself to actually feel good to do that and also make money and make a living. If you're totally about your artistic expression and not wanting to please genre conventions and not wanting to please a certain audience, you're writing for yourself. And that's fine. If you want to write for yourself, if it's about fulfilling your own artistic vision and doing this thing yourself, there's nothing wrong with that either. But too many authors don't recognize that when they do that, they're not writing to an audience, or they're not building a system for an audience, and they're building a system for themselves. And then they get frustrated because they feel like the audience should come towards them and that they deserve it, right? And that's the whole problem that I'm seeing pretty much with this video right here. When I watch this video about stepping away and all that, he wants to be an artiste, and that's great, and I hope he does, and I hope he succeeds in that. But at the same time, like, don't get frustrated that the books aren't selling. It's not any other author's fault. It's not AI's fault. It's the fault that you're not following what actually will work within the market. And that's not necessarily just following and copying the market. That is just finding a niche within that market that, of course, the market likes to buy and, of course, also fulfills you. There's a little bit of a difference there on that level. So I'm sad to see this. I'm sad to see David V. Stewart go. I like his YouTube channel, like him generally, and obviously he doesn't like me now because I have just messed around with AI a little bit. These books are not AI written, so I mean, if you had the question on that, I did do these completely myself, which again is just like, it doesn't matter. A person can't tell either way at this juncture, the way that things are done, but it is something that goes to show that people do just blame stuff. Now, you could see that 70 backers, not particularly a good campaign for me either. So I am recognizing where that is, and I pretty much know the reasons for it. The reasons are kind of that I wrote this more for myself than I wrote for a potential audience. Most audience is more into military, space marine-y type stuff. This is more of a space exploration type of stuff. That's more Star Trek oriented, right? And the Star Trek oriented crowd kind of only reads Star Trek stuff. So this is a very, very niche thing. It's also unfund my comic. And it's also a bad economy. So those three things at the same time, I know there's a little bit of uphill battle. I'm fine with it right now because I've got this, and this $5,000 covered my art and editorial costs, which is fantastic. And now I'm happy with that because now I can just make more. And that way I can do what I want and fulfill myself right here. And it's not something I'm going to complain about whatsoever. I think the people who get this are going to absolutely enjoy it, and I'm very glad that they're with me on this journey. I hope more will be with me on this journey before it goes. But that's the thing. You got to honestly look at this stuff from a marketing perspective, not look at it from a, like, you know, I'm mad that it's like not doing as well as I hoped it did perspective, because the market is what the market is. And if you missed on the market, then there's a reason for that, right? Doesn't have to do with quality. Doesn't have to do with it. It's not a personal thing, but it is what the market is. So I don't get down on any of this stuff. Like I said, I'm very, very happy. I appreciate everybody reading. On Amazon, everything's going great. I just had my bestseller ever launch with my churchianity book just a couple months ago. So things are going well. It's just like I have to hone in on what I want to do with the market, and then of course do the projects that fulfill myself as well. And some go great, some don't go as great. It is what it is, and that is the way that selling anything works. It's not just books, it's anything. When you have a product, it is what it is. So it is very, very hard out there, my friends, but I hope you don't lose heart. And there's good books out there, of course, and I hope you'll enjoy these and check them out. Like I said, I think it's my best I've ever done. And that's it. Have any questions, ask me. I'm very, very happy. I have a great Discord community where we're very active and love to hear from you as well. Hit the like and subscribe button. Check out Valiant Frontiers in the description below. We'll be back soon.